Okay, so welcome. This is concept 104. It is a concept on both the SAT and the ACT. The concept is with redundancy and economy of language. And it's a topic that a lot of times is discussed in English class. A lot of times teachers will encourage their students to write more directly and with active verbs or an active voice. Um, it, um, Getting rid of any superfluous words or extraneous words that just create confusion. But anyway, this is a topic that is very much a part of both tests, and it's easy enough to get if you just know what you're looking for. So we'll go through this pretty quickly. Whenever you're in doubt about a question and you're not sure what to pick, always go with the most clear and concise or succinct answer. You don't want to waste words, and if there's a way to get the message across with fewer words, then it's probably the better choice. It's just more succinct. You're being economical with your words. You're not wasting them. You're being thrifty. And that's something that's very much prized in a lot of good writing, and it's something that is very important to both the SAT and the ACT. So the first concept is redundancy. Probably familiar with this word. Redundancy is when you repeat yourself. You're just being unnecessarily or excessively, notice that, I said the same thing more or less twice. You're just unnecessarily repeating what you already mean. So if you can avoid using synonyms back to back, then that's always a better way to go. Also, you don't want to just state the obvious either. So cats have small hearts, an organ that pumps blood throughout their body. Well, any human knows what a heart is, so it doesn't really need to be explained. That said, if you say small cats develop cardiomyopathy, then in a positive that explains what cardiomyopathy is necessary. So something's problematic if it states the obvious or you're repeating something that the reader already knows. It's already been given. And we'll look at that in just a moment, but let's kind of go through all three of these. So word economy, if you look at this incorrect one, it's a little confusing and it's all in passive voice. Passive voice is when you use state of being verbs. State of being verbs aren't wrong. There's nothing inherently wrong with them, but there's always a more direct way to say it. An example would be if I said, John hit the ball, that's direct, that's active voice, versus the ball was hit by John. Move that down. The ball was hit by John. Both sentences are technically correct, but the first one is an active voice and it's just a bit more direct. So if we look at these two, we have the triple axel was landed by Michelle Kwan, who is a skater for the United States at the 1998 Winter Olympics. So passive voice. We can be much more direct with this sentence by saying Michelle Kwan, a United States skater at the 1998 Winter Olympics, landed the triple axel. So we get rid of was a skater by just giving in a positive that tells you who she is, and we get rid of was landed and we just use landed. So as long as you can say it with less and more directly, that's usually the way to go. Being. Being is, if you see being on the test, put on a pair of Nikes and run as fast as you can in the other direction. Being is pretty much always wrong. It creates wordiness, confusion, and diluted sentences. If you want to see more on that, I encourage you to kind of look this over, but you can take my word at face value that being is creating convoluted sentences. Okay, so let's just look at a few quick examples. So question 3, we'll take a moment to read this, and then we'll talk about which one is the most clean and direct way and has the best economy of language. So 1900, chef Louis Schwarzmary, a voracious collector of cookbooks, donated approximately 20,000 culinary artifacts to the University of Iowa's library. The gift included more than 100 manuscript recipe books, collections of recipes handwritten by people who use them. The manuscripts, some of which date back to the 17th century, are an invaluable resource for food historians as well as the general public. And then it says, because of the astonishing size and range of Schwarzmary's donation to the University of Iowa, making this cornucopia of information available to readers was a challenge. So if we look at this previous paragraph, pardon, sorry about that. If we look back at this previous paragraph, we already know it was a donation to the University of Iowa. It says he donated to the University of Iowa. So there's no reason to mention the University of Iowa again. Donation of so many culinary artifacts, we've already made that point. Massive donation of cookbooks, yeah, we said that it was a large donation of 20,000. So really, we just want to go with day. It's the most concise way to deliver the message without unnecessarily repeating information that the reader already has. All right, let's look at 5. If these birds are simply looking for open space and enough food to eat, then why not end their journey in the low Arctic? Continuing on to the north requires more fuel and carries an even greater risk of mortality if the birds continue on. So hopefully you're already realizing what's problematic with A. We already say continuing on to the north, so we don't need to say if the birds continue on. So redundant there. If they keep going, that's synonymous with continue on. Mortality, well, if you look up the definition of mortality, that's death. So we're repeating ourselves unnecessarily. So that's going to be D. 6, according to jazz historians Gary Giddens and Scott DeVaux, Redman acknowledged that he had, in fact, adjusted and altered the structure of his musical arrangements in part to accommodate Armstrong's distinct style. Adjusted and altered mean the same thing. So we don't want both words. Changed also means the same thing. Reworking means the same thing. So we just go with adjusted. Again, the key thing with these problems isn't that they're difficult. They're not. They're pretty straightforward and probably one of the easier parts of the test. That said, if you're not in tune to the fact that the test prizes economy of language and concise, direct sentences, then it's easy not to pick up on this type of problem and to go for the wordier choice because it just seems more proper. But more words often doesn't mean better. Anyway, good luck with the worksheet.